Welcome to the module regarding how to use the discussion board tool in Blackboard. In this module, we'll be outlining what are the available default options, what are some of the grading options, creating alerts for grading options, setting up subscribing by students options, how to set up creating and editing options for students, and at the end there'll be a brief discussion on the difference between forums and threads regarding Blackboard discussions. Also in the module in Blackboard, you'll have available this video along with a downloadable document PDF so you can follow along at your leisure for anything that we talked about in this module. So let's get started. To get to the discussion sections, there are two easy ways to arrive there. One is to click the home button and then to click on the discussions in the list. You can also scroll down to the bottom underneath course tools and click on discussion board. From discussion board, you're going to be able to see what types of discussion items, forums that you've already started, or you can create your own. So let's start with creating a new forum. You click on the Create Forum button, and you're going to need to follow along to ensure you indicate the required fields. We can start with adding the name. For an example, this is going to be the discussion post. I'm also going to enter some text into the description field for the students to be able to follow along. You'll also be able to notice up here that the toolbar allows you to format the fonts and format the text for specific items you may need, including a URL for students to view, bulleted items, or bolding or italicized items. Underneath this, we will view the forum availability. In this, you have a choices of yes or no. Yes means that as soon as you hit publish, then the forum will be immediately available, or you can click no and it'll only be available to the instructor, not the students at this time. Another item you can do is enter a specific set of dates. So if you have your forums planned to go live on certain dates at certain times, you can use the day and month settings and setting the time from AM to PM and indicate when it is that you would like these forums to be active. Likewise, you can also set the settings to run until a specific date. So for example, we had it starting on the 25th and we may want it to end after 1 week. And so that gives the students 1 week time to use the forum. After that, it will be automatically unavailable, set to a no status, and they will not be able to view it at this time. You can also set up the standard settings view. This is also very important depending on how you want to run your feedback. The standard view for threads and replies are that as soon as a student enters a thread or reply, any student visiting the discussion will be able to see and preview what everyone else has already written. Participants must create a thread before they can view the forums. This creates a restriction. The forums are open, but students are unable to view other students' threads that have already been posted unless they have already posted a thread. Once they create a thread and submit it, then the discussion forum opens up to standard view where they can view and reply back to fellow students and their fellow cohort members. Regarding forums, you have three options. You can make these forums grading in the forum, so no grading is required. Generally speaking, often there is a discussion for forums, and for many students and teachers, the forums are usually 5 points apiece. You can change that as you wish. Later on at the end, I will describe what grading threads mean, and in this setting you would grade the threads and you wouldn't grade the forums altogether. But stay tuned to the end of the video to have a better understanding what the difference between forums and threads are. If we set up to grade the forum itself by points, you can also have a reminder sent to you regarding each student how many posts they have made. So for example, if you request students to post and then also comment on 3 other students, you're looking for a total of 4 posts before you're going to be engaging with the student to verify their assessment for those forums. So you would set it to 4. After that, you'd be notified of an update, and with the update you'll be notified which students are ready to be graded. Likewise, here's a due date, and you can mark a due date when you believe each forum should end. Anyone who adds a participating post after this due date, it'll just be marked as late. You can include a rubric into your forum post for students to be able to view it ahead of time and understand the status that you're expecting from them to be participating in the forums. We talked about subscribing for students. This section here, subscribing. This will allow students to subscribe to a forum item, and they will receive updates via their school content during the Blackboard email or through their school email, depending on how the system is set up. So as other students contribute to their posts, the forum posts, they'll get an update and they'll be able to return back to the forum and interact with their cohort members. And if you wish, you can also make it so the descriptions are not available. Down below is the create and edit options. The default settings are to allow students to have their files attachments, which is often very useful, and also for students to reply with quotes, meaning they will be able to take quoted material from other students' posts and respond directly to that material. You may allow students to delete their own posts, and with this option you can delete all the posts or only posts with no replies. So for example, if a student has posted something and they forgot their references at the end, the student themselves can delete their post and enter it once again. However, if a student has already had a reply to their post, they would not be able to delete or edit it. Likewise, you can author or edit their own posts. As we mentioned just a moment ago, if a student forgets his references, he can go back and edit quickly and add references to it. He can allow other members of the cohort to create new threads within his. And if you are on a topic that you believe there's moderation that needs to be provided, you can force moderation. This will require that the instructor yourself will have to approve each post before it will be viewable by the rest of the cohort members. An additional option at the bottom is to allow post tagging and ratings for the posts. In this, that you can create a tagging scenario, or students can create a tagging scenario for each post and they can follow along. You can also allow students and cohorts to rate the post for each posting that is made. Once you have everything filled in, you can click the submit button at the bottom or the submit button at the top. And at this point, since the form will be created live and it will be ready for students to view. Here's a quick discussion on what's the differences between forums and threads. As we commented earlier, to start off, you create a forum. And in the forum is an opportunity for students to interact. And the basic understanding of this is that a thread is part of a forum. Sometimes you have single topic forums. For example, this one, introduce yourself to the class. And this would typically allow the students to click into the forum, create their own thread by introducing themselves, and then traditionally you would have other students commenting or saying hello based on their own threads to the student. At the end of the assessment period, you as the instructor can simply go into the gradebook and grade the students based on a single forum posting. And that would include any sub-threads that they would create inside the forum. Another way of creating forums is to do pre-described threads based on a single topic. So for example, you would want the students to discuss different types of learning theories. You can see on the right at the very beginning that there's already 3 posts, and those would be the ones that the instructor has created, and as the instructor you only have 1 participant. Here's an outline of the general criteria that you would like the students to follow. And inside of the forum, you can see 3 different threads. So for this example, we have 3 different learning styles that we'd like the students to participate in. If you were grading on threads, you would grade on each single thread as the students participate in it. If you chose to only grade by forums, a student would be able to operate within one thread and may not contribute to the other 2 threads, and their grading would reflect a single forum grading. If you require thread grading, as in this example, a student would get assessment on each individual thread that they participated in, as well as each sub-thread would be contributed to the main thread that the professor makes. So in review on this, a forum is a topic for discussion, and forums are created of threads. And the threads can either be primary threads or sub-threads as students contribute and speak to one another. Keep this in mind when you are creating forum discussions in the discussion group. Would you like to have a single forum grading, or would you like to create a single forum with multiple threads and have each thread graded independently? If you have any questions regarding using the discussions and using the forum material, please contact the Distance Learning Department and be glad to answer your questions specifically.